Yeah, good morning. Earlier, I introduced the paper Contemporary Literary Theory. Okay, now let me introduce literary theory. The word literary theory. So, actually, Oxford English Dictionary defined the word theory. Actually, here in this title, literary theory, we have two words. One is literary, another one theory. Okay, not only in the literature, almost, almost in all the disciplines we can find the theories. Okay, that's why theory is a academic word for which is related to all the disciplines of academic world. Okay, so now this is limited to this theory is limited to literature. Okay, now it is literary theory. Let us understand what is this two words. What are these two words? Okay, Oxford English Dictionary defined the word theory, the term theory as the conceptual basis of a study or area of study. Of a subject or area of study. Okay, you may apply the theory or you may have the theory in a particular subject or the area of study. Okay, generally subject is area of study, we know. Subject is area of study. So when we have a theory, okay, then that theory will give us or will inform us the conceptual basis. The conceptual basis. Okay, so if you want to study a particular subject or area of study, that may be literature or poetry, literature as a subject, poetry as a area of study, or the criticism as an area of study, or the novel as an area of study, like that. We may have different areas of study. Okay, then this theory, this theory, okay, inform us the conceptual basis. The conceptual basis. Okay, so it gives us some concepts. Okay, yeah, some rules or some formulas may be established based on the concepts. Okay, based on the concepts, this theory will inform us what to study and how to study and how to analyze those literary texts. Okay, that is a theory. Then this is the Oxford English Dictionary meaning. That is the word theory means the conceptual basis of a subject or area of study. Okay, so literary theory is to read it. Literary theory is to read it as the conceptual basis of the area of study called literature. Now, in this literary theory, our area of subject or area of study is literature, and it provides the theory. Literary theory provides the conceptual basis to study literature. The literary theory provides the conceptual basis to study literature. Okay, in general, theory theory means the conceptual uh, basis of a subject. Okay, that subject is here literature. That's why we use the term literary theory. Literary theory. Okay, because literature is our area of study or the subject. Okay, to study this area of study, that is literature, we use some basic concepts. Okay, we use some basic concepts. How those basic concepts we have? Okay, because of this conceptual frame or the conceptual framework that is from literary theory. Literary theory. Literary theory will inform us some concepts. Based on those concepts, we will analyze the literary literature. Okay, this is the intention. Okay, literary studies. Okay, actually, not literary criticism, not literary theory. Okay, in the broader sense, we may call literary studies. Okay, literary studies which deals with analyzing and evaluating particular literary texts. Okay, so literary studies deals with the analyzing and evaluating particular literary text. Okay, we will have literary text in our hands, then we will analyze and we will evaluate those particular literary text. That study we call literary studies. Okay, usually this literary studies in practical way we call literary criticism. In practical way we call literary criticism. Then surely this literary criticism is entirely different from literary theory. Literary theory. Okay, literary theory will provide us conceptual framework. You know one thing, the literary theorists who proposed many literary theories are not critics. They are not critics. They are the professors of different disciplines and they proposed by studying from their discipline perspectives. They proposed some theories. Those theories were applied to study literature. That's why they were treated as literary theorists. Literary theorists. Okay, now, so literary theory deals with the literary studies which deals with the analyzing and evaluating particular literary text. This is usually identified as literary criticism. This is usually identified as literary criticism. Now, see, try to understand the word literary theory. Literary theory deals with the broad picture, attempting to give a comprehensive vision of what constitutes the field of literary studies. Okay, so the literary theory deals with the broad picture or about the nature. We can say about the nature. Okay, attempting to give a comprehensive vision. This literary theory will give us or will attempt to give us a comprehensive vision of what constitutes the field of literary studies. Whatever there in literary studies, that is literary criticism. Okay, this literary theory will give us a clear idea. Will give us a clear idea. You see, let me tell you one example. Um, if anyone wants to construct a house, okay, it is enough to have the material that is cement, iron, and bricks and other material. But to construct a house, in addition to these materials, actually, first we should have a comprehensive idea how the house should be built. How the house should be built. There should be a proper planning. There should be a proper blueprint. There should be a proper house planning to construct the house, even though we have all these materials along with the human resource, right? That's why this literary theory is the plan or the conceptual framework or the blueprint, or we can say house planning, for example. Okay, so practical criticism, yeah, literary criticism is the practical construction of house, the practically constructing a house. Okay, using all the materials. Okay, this criticism will construct some other text as the product of literary criticism or literary critical work. Okay, but it should have a particular framework, conceptual framework or a theoretical framework, we can say. That is literary theory. Okay, literary theory is the idea or the plan or everything behind the actual practice, behind the actual practice. Okay, literary criticism concerns itself with the practice of reading individual text by transforming abstract concepts of literary theory into analytical tone. Okay, here we are going to know the relation between literary criticism and literary theory. Okay, what we are doing in literary criticism? In literary criticism, we are analyzing, we are practicing reading of literary text, individual text, and analyzing them and evaluating them. Okay, we are analyzing those individual literary text and evaluating them. We are coming up with some information or some generalizations or some critical insights into that work. But here, okay, when this literary theory is introduced, then literary criticism concern itself with the practice of reading individual text, but by transforming abstract concepts of literary theories into analytical tools. Okay, so the literary theory will inform us or will give us abstract concepts. Now we are in practical criticism, in real critical criticism, in real literary criticism, or in the practice of this literary criticism, we are transforming these abstract concepts into analytical tools. To analyze that particular literary text. Okay. So, for example, in our culture, we all the time insist to have a formal dress, to wear a formal dress. Okay, that is already the principle we have in abstract form. Okay, whenever we want to judge the dress or attire of a particular girl or boy, all the time we used to think from that framework point of view, that statement point of view. Okay, all the time we will check whether that boy or girl wears a formal dress or not. Formal dress or not. Based on that, we will define them. We will criticize them. In the same manner, when we have a particular framework as the result of literary theory, then we will try to analyze the literary text with reference to those abstract concepts that are informed by the literary theory. Right? In such a way, there is a relation between literary criticism and literary theory. Okay, actually, most of the literary theorists are not literary critics. Already I mentioned that point. Okay, Jacques Derrida and Jacques Lacan and this other scholars such as Michael Foucault. Okay, likewise, these are all the scholars who propose some theories. Okay, whose theories now permanently took part in literary criticism and the study of literature. Okay, now those scholars are not actually the literary critics. Okay, they propose theories. Now these literary critics, they are practicing their critical insights by using the literary theoretical abstract concepts, the concepts of abstraction, right? That's why we can say, yeah, try to understand. Literary criticism is studying the individual text and analyzing them and evaluating them simply. But here there is no particular framework. While reading something, whatever they feel, they used to express, they used to write. This is the earlier practice. But now, these literary theories, they informed us some theoretical framework, some conceptual frames, some concepts. Okay, based on those conceptual framework, we are going to analyze the literary text. Now, in literary criticism, we are going to transform these abstract concepts of literary theories into the practical analytical tools. The practical analytical tools. Okay, to analyze any data, we need some tools. Okay, in research, generally it is insisted that we should have some analytical tools to analyze anything. Okay, earlier in literary criticism, okay, the people or the critics might not have the proper analytical tools. But with the introduction of this literary theory, okay, this literary theory, they started to introduce. Okay, they started to use the conceptual framework or the conceptual basis of literary theories to practice literary criticism. To practice literary criticism, right? Actually, Jonathan Culler, he distinguished these two terms, literary and theory. Literary and theory, he distinguished. Okay, so in his book, Jonathan Culler, in his book, Literary Theory, a literary theory, a very short introduction. A literary theory, a very short introduction. This is the title of the book that was written by Jonathan Culler. Okay, C-U-L-L-E-R, Culler. Okay, so this Jonathan Culler, he defined theory in literary studies as a self-contained genre. Okay, he separated literary theory from literature, literary criticism. Okay, he says that literary theory itself is a self-contained genre, self-sufficient genre. Okay, and which might be concerned with anything and everything under the sun. Okay, this theory might be concerned with everything and anything under the sun. Everything and anything under the sun. Okay, try to understand this point here. Okay, literary theory is a self-contained genre. Self-contained genre. Okay, for him. But there is a drawback in his statement. He considered theory originates outside the disciplines of literary studies and remains an alien presence within it. That is the drawback. Actually, according to Jonathan Culler, okay, it is very clear that this literary theory originates outside the disciplines of literary studies. Of course, surely, the theorists who propose these theories, they are surely outside of this literary studies. They are not non-literary persons. They are non-literary persons. That's why Jonathan Culler, he proposed that theory originates outside the disciplines of literary studies, surely. But here the fact is that okay, he says that it remains an alien presence within it. It remains an alien presence within it. Of course, at that time he felt like that. He proposed that, but now this literary theory became the part and parcel of this literary studies. Literary studies, right? So actually, for this literary theory, you may have a doubt when it is originated. Okay, actually, a significant number of textbooks mention 1960s as a moment of origin of literary theory, as a moment of origin of literary theory, right? Actually, most of the theorists who propose literary theories, they are the people of French. Okay, they are the people from French. Okay, so that means actually in Paris, okay, in Paris, 1960s, there is this, there were unrest conditions in Paris. because the university students and college students, they revolt against the government, and they revolt against this authorities, maybe church authority or any authorities. Okay, so they revolt. In that process, actually Michael Foucault and this Jacques Derrida, they are also the participants in those revolts against the authorities. Okay, actually, that is in that time those people, okay, those students, they revolt against this government or the established systems and authorities like such and other. Okay, actually Roman Catholic Church is dominant in that France. Okay, so now these people, okay, these students, they revolt against that. Then they started to break everything. They started to break everything. That is the tradition, the established system, even the words of the language. Even the words of the language. Okay, then started. Okay, there is a particular link between this revolt and the literary theory. Actually, in the process of deconstructing, in the process of breaking the rules or the established systems, okay, these people, they thought why there should be the traditional analysis of criticism to analyze the literary text, to analyze the literary text. Why all the time we should analyze the literary text from moral point of view, from classicist point of view? Okay, these are the questions arose during that time, and those people, okay, they started to revolt against this government, right? So authorities, they fought for anti-establishment and anti-authority, anti-establishment and anti-authority. With that idea, really, we can say that these people also started to study, started to analyze the literature or the literary text from their perspectives, from different perspectives. They break the traditional methods to analyze the literary text, right? Now, yeah, a significant number of textbooks mention 1960s as a moment of origin of literary theory, right? In such a way, the literary theory originated in 1960s, right? So, yeah, maybe the first theory, maybe the sexualization, the sexualization. The first theory may be structuralization. So let me recap again. The term theory means the conceptual basis of a subject or area of study. In any discipline, in any academic discipline, theory provides the conceptual basis of a subject. That may be economics, that may be politics, that may be history, or physics, chemistry, whatever it may be, the theory provides the conceptual basis. Okay, so theory means the conceptual basis of a subject or area of study, right? So the literary theory is to read it as the conceptual basis of the area of study called literature. Now, for us, what is the area of study? Literature. Now, we are studying the literature based on this conceptual basis. That's why we call it literary theory. Okay, the theory which provides the conceptual basis for studying the literature. Okay, the subject or area of study is literature. Okay, next, the literary studies. Okay, generally the literary studies deals with analyzing and evaluating particular literary text. What we are going to do in literary criticism is analyzing and evaluating particular literary text, particular literary text. So this is usually identified as literary criticism. Try to understand this point carefully. Earlier at the beginning, the study of literary text by analyzing and evaluating those texts are called, that study called literary studies. Now we are calling it as literary criticism. Okay, so now we identified it as literary criticism. At the time of this Aristotle or this other people, other scholars such as T.S. Eliot and Irenaeus, even before this Irenaeus, T.S. Eliot, before new criticism, we call it as literary studies. Okay, now, so literary theory deals with the broad picture. Okay, literary theory deals with the broad picture, attempting to give a comprehensive vision of what constitutes the field of literary studies. The field of literary studies. Okay, whereas literary criticism concerns itself with the practice of reading individual text, practice of reading individual text by transforming, try to understand this point, by transforming abstract concepts of the literary theories. Okay, the literary theory provides us abstract concepts. We are transforming these abstract concepts as analytical tools to analyze the literary text. Analytical tools to analyze the literary text, right? Yeah, one point you should remind that the most of the literary theorists are not theorists are not literary critics. Okay, Jonathan Kohler, he distinguishes the two terms literary and theory in his book Literary Theory, a very short introduction. Okay, Kohler defines the theory in literary studies as a self-contained genre, as a self-contained genre or self-sufficient genre, which might be concerned with analyzing and concerned with anything and everything under the sun. Okay, for him, theory originated outside the disciplines of literary studies. Even we can understand that point also. Okay, literary theory originates outside the discipline of literary studies and remains an alien presence within it. But now it is not the fact. The fact is changed now. Okay, a significant number of textbooks mention 1960s as a moment of origin of literary theory. Okay, so we can affirm that the origin of literary theory to we can date it back to 1960s. Okay, this is a literary theory and a literary criticism, the relation between these two. Okay, one is literary theory is a theoretical framework or abstract framework. Literary criticism is practicing it or a practical point of view or applying those literary theories into practice. That is literary criticism, right? So as we have only 4 minutes, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Yes, students, if you have any doubt, you can ask in this point, in this matter. Yeah, maybe just as I introduced only the basic ideas, you might have not any doubt, I think. Tomorrow, yeah, students, tomorrow I will start the object of study, Okay, actually I recorded a video. Before that, I felt that it is better to give you this introduction about a literary theory. Okay, if you do not understand what is the difference between literary theory and literary criticism, then you can't understand properly. So here in this semester, by studying the literary theories, you are going to know what are the abstract framework or what are the theoretical frameworks to analyze the literary text. Okay, it will help you to make to criticize a poem or to analyze critically a prose work also. Okay, actually unit 1 from unit 1 you are expected to analyze okay, a poem or a prose piece, you know. That's why these literary theories will help you to analyze from those perspectives also. Okay, even before that we will discuss some basics on which the letter a poem, based on which a poem or a prose piece should be studied. In addition to that, this theory will inform us more things. Okay. Okay. With this, I would like to wind up this today's class, as the time is only we have only I think 2 minutes. Can I close? Okay. I will provide this video. Okay, recorded video to you. I will create. I will create